Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Well, welcome to Big Fat Real Estate Checks. This is Marco Kozlowski. Actually, Kozlowski. Kozlowski means goat herder, actually.
That's right.
And
That's right.
It does. And our private equity fund also is named after a goat. So we like goats around here. We do. For a lot of different reasons, which I will leave to your imagination, and I promise it's not creepy or weird. This is Big Fat. Oh my goodness, that was perfect. Welcome to Big Fat Real Estate Checks. My name is Marco Kozlowski, goat herder, and this is Gabriela Raish. And today we're going to be discussing, after we stop being so wacky, the power of bizarre numbers, the power of weird numbers. We actually discussed this when we were doing a podcast previously with Frank as he closed his new hotel. In Ocala, right up the street from the existing hotel that he has. He has quite a bundle now. Good for him. Proud of him. Always like to see my students shine. Frank and Gabe are both students, and I'm still a student of life. I'm always learning. Always like to learn new things. And the objective of this podcast is for you to be inspired, for you to have some extra knowledge, and for you to really understand that all you need is tools and knowledge and access to money. You don't need money yourself or credit in order to really put some marvelous deals together and have access to all the money you'll ever need in order to really change your financial future. It's the only difference between someone that is extremely wealthy and someone that's extremely broke, other than possibly being born into money. It's just behavior. If you behave correctly, you're actually going to make money grow very quickly. And instead of having $100,000 that you buy a BMW with or a Mercedes with or something expensive with, if you have $100,000, you buy an asset that makes you the BMW on a monthly basis. And if you understand that mindset shift, that you don't have to buy something, you actually buy something that gets you something for life, which is really what we're looking for you to do. And the more skills you have, the better it is. And if you listen to the first 10 episodes of our podcast, it explains asset-based lending extremely clearly. Yes, we do classes. Yes, we mentor people. Yes, we help people buy all kinds of assets. Most people start at 3 to 5 units, very small, very basic, and understanding the process of the AIM method, which stands for the ABC response, the impasse, and the monetization of the impasse. And if you aim correctly, you're going to be able to pretty much hit any target that you're looking for. So with that, we want to discuss the power of weird numbers today. And I think I integrate this in a lot of aspects of my business. When I'm making offers, when I'm that are wanting to be rejected specifically, that's the conversation. I don't know if we've even had a podcast on making sure offers are rejected. I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, we mentioned it so many times throughout multiple podcasts too, because this is, I think, the bread and butter of the process.
And the last podcast we recorded is all about hearing the word no, right? If you don't get no, you're doing things wrong. Most people want a yes, and you have to bask in the no, because as I said in the last podcast, and as you said it as well, when you say no to one thing, you say yes to everything else. You have infinite possibilities. So let's talk about this. The power of weird numbers. Gabe, you want to share some insight on that?
Well, I guess I think that the weird numbers come when we're asked to make an offer. A lot of times that's kind of how the discussions goes, and, make us an offer. And most will make an offer that's, $350,000 or $265,000, round numbers. And it feels like it's almost standard in the industry now, actually. They expect it. And it breeds of negotiation. That's all that sounds like to me. So as soon as numbers come down, if the offering price is $1 million and, I offer $950 or $900 or $800 or $850, it just feels like it's I'm setting down a bar for my counterpart to just start negotiating against until we get to a position of potentially splitting the difference. But when we make offers, if I'm going to make an offer around the $700,000 range, for example, it's not going to be $700,000. It's going to be something like $702,364 64 or 67. Not, we don't do 67. We'll do 68, for example. And now you're probably asking why. And that's exactly what we want. It's why. What could have happened for that number to have been punched out of that mind? And that's it's actually part of the process where we want them to focus on the why rather than focus on the number. And it's very psychological. It's a great approach. It basically we use it. We call it the swag. I say we because we've learned from Marco, but Marco came up with the swag method, and which stands for scientific wild ass guess. But it sounds like it's computed. It sounds like we have this very advanced algorithm that just punches out this number. We call it the Kozlowski 2029. So and I'm giving numbers in the future. That's all.
Yeah, I like
it. But it comes out with this weird number, but it triggers. It's like, okay, wait a minute. There's a lot of thought that's gone into that number. So there must be a good reason for that number to have come out. And now they start looking at their deal and analyzing their own property as to, well, why is that number so specific? And that's extremely powerful, because now you're removing the thought process from the number, and you're making them focus on why that number.
The curiosity around it. Correct. It's and there's a lot of power to that, so it becomes less confrontational and more curious and cooperative immediately. How did you come up with that number? Where does that number come from? And we've actually tested this where. So, in Gabe's example of 702,463, I don't think that was the number he gave, but some weird number.
Yeah.
And you do that weird number, and you actually do an offer of 750, which is significantly more than 702,000 and change. But the 702,000 offer will always outperform, outrespond the higher round number. And the reason is exactly what Gabe just said, is curiosity. That number looks like it's very calculated, it's very scientific. They must really know what they're doing. There's a lot of power around it. And it's very interesting psychologically, because at the end of the day, we're not doing business with a building. We're doing business with people. And when people see this, they go, ugh, this is weird. And there's going to be a lot of questions around it, and it's going to elicit a response of some kind.
And that's exactly what we're looking for, right?
Yes.
Because we know it's going to get refused. And in fact, that's what we want. If it doesn't get refused, then we have other questions to ask ourselves. But if it gets, even if let's say the asking is $1 million in this case, 750 is really low, and there's a good chance that's going to get shot down anyway. So even if someone comes with a $750,000 offer, it's going to get shut down. But there's a larger chance that 750 gets ghosted altogether with zero response, and the 702 will get rejected as well, but it will get rejected through a response from the seller that's going to, give us more ammo. It'll give us more information about the deal. It's not just going to be a flat out no. It's going to be a no with a question, most likely on their end, which is going to help us continue to probe and eventually potentially reach the impasse that we're looking to reach.
Everything we do is designed to get your counterpart on the same side of the table as we are. How do we work together to get, because they want to sell, we want to buy, right? It's male and female, or male and female and female, everything's acceptable. But in the traditional sense of the conversation, it's you want to do something that I want to do as well, right? I'm selling something, you're buying something. Well, we both want this same item result. To be, exactly. We want, I'm selling, you're buying. So we want this item to be no longer in my possession, but in your possession. And now it's all semantics as to what the number is around that. But the more skilled you are, I will say this, the more skilled you are, the more fun you're going to have in the process of playing this verbal chess, right? I call this verbal chess. It's psychology. It's not checkers. It's actually chess. And you can really have a lot of fun. And this is the part of the business I enjoy the most. When I buy property, or even when I bought my car, or even when I'm doing services or around my businesses, I'm developing other businesses as we speak. And as I'm negotiating pricing, I have someone on my team that was negotiating a price. We actually got 50% off because of the size of the order. And then they said, well, this is just what I'm allowed to do. You need to talk to Marco, who's on the team, executive team, to really make sure that this is the right thing. So I sent 2 emails that basically said, listen, we're looking for a more significant relationship. We're going to be buying a lot more because we're developing 6 other properties that we're going to need this stuff with. And I'd really like to be, and I gave this very low, and they already gave us a 50% discount, by the way. This is a very big company, so I'm not worried about, someone starving to death on the other end. They're very big, so I'm not worried about
hurt,
it. Right, or I want to say this, there's a caveat to what I'm doing here, is I will always try to get the best possible price unless I'm hurting my counterpart. All right, if it's a little old lady or it's a small business owner that needs the money in order to, to survive, I'm going to be a lot more lenient on a small business owner, on a solopreneur that really needs to extract a little bit more capital so they can take care of their family. I'm going to be a lot less stringent or strict, or, I'm going to apply a lot less pressure on that person, because that was me back then, and I would want to get a little bit more bucks, and I can afford it, versus when I'm dealing with a large multinational that supplies stock to even companies like Disney and Universal for this particular products that we're buying. It's a big furniture company that sells very, very, very interesting furniture. Anyway, so we got a 50% break already, and I shaved off another 10 grand off the 50%, and this is only a $60,000. It's a $100,000 order that we got for basically $50,000 that I got down to $40,000. So another 10% off, just by simply doing a weird number, just by doing a swag. And then they came back and said, listen, if we sell it to you for any less, I'm going to lose my job. And okay, and that was an impasse as far as I was concerned. And it's not about getting the $10,000 off anymore. It's just about them respecting me in the morning, if that makes any sense. Yeah. There's and if you had asked me 10 years ago, would I be able to, I would be appalled at the even thought of asking for something even better. I thought asking for more, saying no, which is what we discussed in the last podcast, giving a weird number, all these things were like impossible, taboo, you're not supposed to do that, but you get to do it, and it's a lot of fun. So to land the plane, Marco, I got the case of the Franks. To land the plane, I gave a weird number, and it was very effective, and they came down, not to the number that I was, because I was like in the 25-30% off, almost embarrassed when I said it. And there's a way to position it where I'm embarrassed, I don't even want to do this, but I have to, or I'm going to lose my job, here's what it looks like. And they said, we can't do that, but we can do this. And because it was a weird number, they actually went down a little bit more. And because specifically they said, you look like you really calculated your numbers and invested a lot of time in this, and this is really the best we can do on already a very, aggressive price already. We're giving you Disney pricing, but now it's better than Disney pricing, and they buy a shit ton of products from them. So I was very pleased with that. Or she could have just said that just to make me happy, which she did, and I'm happy anyway. So it's just
win-win.
It's a win-win. I left very happy, and I'm sure they did as well. So power of weird numbers. I think we're done.
Yeah,
is that
so.
It? Yeah.
And I just maybe also don't make them too weird, so don't add decimals. And 16 cents. I've seen it done.
You
actually,
could.
I guess it depends what you're but on a property.
Well, actually, Guido, he's from. I think he lives in North Carolina. And he had a mobile home park that he made an offer on, and they actually ended up taking it because it was weird. He says, "I will never forget. His name is Guido, but it's spelled Guido, right?
Yeah.
He's from Switzerland, and it's
Guido,
right?
Yeah.
But it looks like Guido, right?
Correct.
So it's like, and they're like, well, Guido just sent us an offer of this with decimal points. If we don't take it, we're not going to survive, right? And that was the joke that was going around with the seller. I remember doing a seller call around this, and actually eventually going to see the park and talking to the seller and the seller before the seller. It was actually a really neat conversation. And we talked a significant amount of time on this weird offer with pennies on this $1 million park. So
I guess make it weird. I stand
the
corrected.
Yes, no, I'm just saying it's. There's nothing wrong with adding pennies, and I agree with you. I would say don't do pennies either, but
Stick
I have
to
a
two
case.
decimals. Are we okay?
I have
to 2 decimals.
Yes, and 1/8 of a penny. Yes, and 2 peppercorns. Yes, yeah. So actually, that comes. I hate to do this, but there's a friend of mine has a property in Costa Rica that he rents out for a significant amount of cash. We're talking like $20,000-$30,000 a month. All right, it's a very nice property on the ocean, and someone wanted to buy it, not buy it, but rent it out for in a season where he doesn't do it by the month, but does it by the day because he can get a lot more money selling it by the day, by the bottle than by the case. And so he made a weird offer to them and added 3 bottles of this kind of rum, like a very strange ask. Like it was the number plus like a giraffe, just like some weird rum bottle, right? Which didn't make any sense. Like this weird extra ask. And was it, I don't know if it was in Entourage where they do this as well, where they, I don't know where I saw this. I felt like I was with you when I heard this. But you ask, you negotiate your contract, and then there's this one strange, like I want 19 yellow teddy bears at the same time. Like
there's I think it was an Entourage. Yeah.
Right. This strange ask that goes with whatever numbers that you're doing, in order to make it like to get people off balance, which is also the power of weird, not just numbers, but weird asks at the same time. That adds actual strength to the contract because it's such a weird thing that you're asking that it almost takes away from the low number to begin with, right? So very, very interesting there. I don't know why that just popped into my head. It was going to be a 10-minute podcast. That turned into a 2-hour podcast.
Maybe we should try that.
Yeah. Well, except I don't know if the seller's going to ask. Honestly, if a seller asked for, I want this number and 17 teddy bears, it would really be memorable.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe we should offer 17 teddy bears and see what happens.
Yes. 17... A collection, yeah, and it's actually not a bad. We should try that. I think we should report back to the tribe.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's that. I thought I was finished, but whoop, got a little memory there at the last second.
Great way to finish. Yeah.
Yeah, slid into home there. So there you go. So power of weird numbers, weird asks, make it weird, and the weirder it is, the more memorable it's going to be. And in business, if you're not memorable, you're going to be forgotten, and that's really the last thing you want to be. So you have to be okay with being a little bit weird. And live in that weirdness, enjoy it, bask in it, and specifically with numbers, it has a lot of power when you're making it weird. So let's make it weird. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. And like it, love it, share it, and subscribe. And make sure that you comment as much as possible. We're inching our way to 2,000 5-star reviews, and we would absolutely be delighted if you gave us one. Thank you so much. Have a good day, and action the things that you're learning immediately. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Action as much as you can now, because tomorrow is not promised, but today is the present. It's your gift, and you have to enjoy it and bask in it. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye for now.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.